Good evening, YouTube Model Railroader fans. I'm Ray, and welcome to the Boeville Newtown's vlog number 6 for 2020. It just happens to be February the 8th, 2020, and I just got finished doing something fairly unique. I literally just went through and I guess you could say I realigned or relayed all the track. Even though I don't have the sub-road bed down yet, I needed to make some adjustments to the foam that was underneath because as I was messing around, the foam opened up some rather large gaps. And I was like, well, I need to fix that. That was one thing. The other thing was, as I mentioned, I think in vlog 5, last weekend was the train show, and I picked up, well, you know about the curved turnouts. I'm going to try and show that a little bit better tonight. But the other thing was I picked up flex track, and I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera because I'm actually using the pole tonight. And by the way, I'm making progress. I got 2 weeks in this, and then I'm back to whatever normal is. But I'm using the standing pole instead of the tripod because I wanted to kind of do things a little differently tonight. Anyway, so I just got finished. It took me 5 hours, approximately, give or take, to go through and respike down and make some changes. And I'm going to show you one of them right now because it was a concern of mine. And I'm sorry if I get too close or too far away or hey. Sorry, I'm driving people nuts. I won't do that. I drive people nuts as it is anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try and do this as evenly as I possibly can. Hey, look at that. Anyway, one thing I noticed the other night was as I was talking with Big John, my buddy in the S-Gauge world, one thing came up that well, he didn't mention it, but I noticed it. This is the lead into the quote-unquote yard for the logging operation and the coaling operation. And of course, it's not that big of a yard. It's a small yard. But one of the problems was, and I'm not sure if you all remember, but here is the switch that leads in. And on this corner, in fact, the outer loop still has its switch right there, but the inner loop switch was right across from it. Well, that didn't give you a whole lot of room to be able to maneuver a train to be able to back it up or pick up and reload. So what I did is I kind of moved the switch down. Now, I created another issue when I did this. First off, first problem is the fact that the switch is actually on top of the brake point. So I have to figure out some way of actually making that function, the brake point function again, which obviously the brake point hasn't functioned since I started laying rail, but that's beside the point. Yeah, that switch couldn't be in a worse spot. However, the other options, which were to put it back here, where the straight sections are back here, wasn't going to work. Because then it pushed the corners out too far. It pushed them out beyond the 5.5 foot that I've got back here. And I'm trying to do this without screwing things up too much. So putting it here was the best that I could do. Now, you're going to say, well, gee, it's a little tight in here. Yeah, it is. But that third, or that inner area isn't something where you're going to have trains running constantly. That's only to go ahead and get past a train that is sitting on that inner block over here when I actually start doing the blocks. That it'll be sitting on this block over here. More than likely, he's not going to be past this switch. So there should be plenty of room for a train to get past. And I'm going to make sure that when I actually get to the point of doing signaling, that that's where the train has to stop. It would have to stop about here. So that way the passenger train or the through freight that's coming in on this side, which is actually the southbound, the outer part is the southbound and inner part is northbound. But if there's a southbound through freight or passenger train, he can go ahead and just loop right on in on this little area here and be able to get past that freight train sitting there working the coaling area. So yeah, it's not it turned out better than what I thought it was going to. It's a bit of a mess. I'm still thinking I'm going to tinker with it a little bit, but for right now, until I actually run a train across it, it's there, and that I'm going to have to probably tweak it from that point. Anyway, also in the midst of relaying basically everything, I actually found where some of my issues were. You know, as I was telling you, I was having issues on the outer loop on the southbound side. I actually found out that where my bridges were, or bridges are, that one of those connectors was flattened, and somehow or other, even though it was making contact, it wasn't making great contact. I'm trying to shorten the pole here so that I'm not dragging it and kicking it and everything else. So yeah, it was actually on the southbound side of the bridges here. I found out that I had a bad connector. So that's been replaced. All this has been retacked, realigned, and basically redone. Now we get into the newer stuff. So those, you remember the old switches, those are the ones on the main line. There's this one in the 19-degree crossovers, that's actually the one that I bought last weekend, and there's the curved turnouts. Now upon further review, I did find that 3 of the 4 were factory gapped, and the 4th one was not, and that was obviously the one that was causing me all the hate and discontentment. But the nice thing is, let me go ahead and zoom out here a minute. There we go. Yeah, your outer 2 tracks here, that's your through, and then the inner 4 are going to be your passenger. So, and as you can see, this one and this one are southbound, and this one are northbound. So that means you can go ahead and stop them underneath. And like I said, I've got these sitting over here. I actually moved them out of the way while I was doing the work on the realigning everything. I still have a mess to clean up. And yeah, I noticed one thing here too. Talk about being tight. The thing is, ultimately, you're not going to have 2 passenger trains passing each other on like that at any point in time. So that's not even a concern. They're just sitting there because that's where they happen to end up. You know, if I'm going to be running passenger trains, I'm probably going to be running them on the outer loop. If I was just down here to run trains, I would probably have them just running the outer loop. I would not have them running underneath of the city anyways. So this is not a concern for me. It's a like, oops, but that's because that's where those switches are. And speaking of the switches, now I know I made a mess of this, but let me see if I can, well, I can zoom in, but I can't get close enough here. Hold on a minute. Oh, you're sinking. Well, you've gone below layout level. Ugh. Okay. There's the gap that I put in on the frog. So the frog is completely dead. The trains do run across it. I shouldn't say it's completely dead. I mean, it's got some power, but it's not the power comes from elsewhere. And I went ahead and, just like I did before, I went ahead and I put that wire across. So this rail is tied to this rail, and then this one is tied to the outer one. So they're the way that they're supposed to be. That was fun. And like I was telling people on Facebook, I said, there's nothing to make you more nervous than sitting there cutting into a $20 switch that you just bought with one hand. Yeah, I've got these wedges sitting underneath of here. I found an issue with the bench work. For whatever reason, in this one spot, the bench work started to sag. No idea why, but it did. So I've got to go ahead and cut those down. So now we're on the back side here, and we're pretty much, it's pretty much where it's going to be. I just have to get my 2 more 19-degree crossers, one for over here and then one for down here, and then I can go ahead and I can actually start putting the yards in. I could actually put the outer track in right now if I really wanted to, which I'm probably going to futz with maybe sometime this week or maybe tomorrow, but I'll show that on vlog 7. I'm not gonna, I'm at the point where actually what I need to do, I'm going to go ahead and swing the camera back around here a minute, so give me a second. Oop, I can't see anything. Oh, there we are. I've got the next thing I have to do here is take the vacuum cleaner and clean up all the track, make sure I got all the little its and bits and pieces and things of that nature out from in between the foam and so on and so forth. I've got a couple other things that I want to do. Now that the outer loops are pretty much set, now I can start working on aligning the inner loops, or not the inner loops, but the sidings and the switchback area, which has still been a point of contention with me. I still don't know if I want it. I don't know if I like it. It's a neat idea, but I'm not sure if it's really what I want. I mean, I could go ahead and get away with just putting that daggone thing on one level and calling it a day. But I kind of do want some sort of a gradient area, so I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it, maybe I won't. I'm still playing around with that idea. The warehouse and the hidden, that off layout interchange, I'm going to call it for the time being, which is probably still going to end up being another warehouse. Those tracks I can actually kind of tack down ahead. I can kind of tack them down now, because my next thing is tomorrow I'm supposed to get some wire in, so I can start running the bus wires, because I can actually use my hand. I'm going to go ahead and start running some bus wiring, start looking into getting the track itself, which is one other thing I did tonight, is anywhere I could, I went ahead and got away from using back-to-back sectional pieces, except for in the corners. Not going to do anything with those. The corners are going to be 22-inch. That's what they are. That's the way they sit. Yeah, I could go ahead and put flex track in there, but it's I don't have that kind of cash flow at the moment. So I'm using what I've got. Bottom line. And not only that, but to make these neat little S curves and bell curves and things of that nature, it just, to sit there and futz with that with flex track, to me, is just, it's not worth the frustration. Yeah, electrical connectivity, it would be a better idea, but I'm just not, no. I've done sectional for years. I know I'm trying to take this thing to the next level, but, you know, some things you just have to compromise on, and that's one of the things that I'm going to compromise on, so shoot me later. But so that's my plan, because one of the things that was kind of driving me nuts the other night when I was testing the passenger switching area is the fact that the power packs right now are stuck up over here behind Newton's farm. And if there was something that happened over on that end of the layout, I had to run back this way to go ahead and take care of it. I want to get the main power panel in. I want to at least get the main panel in, so that way everything is done from that point, and I can actually start running maybe the remote switches as well, so that way I can start doing some of the other things that I've been talking about doing with the DC power that's not. It's not stationary, let's put it that way. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it, because I've been on this for 15 and a half minutes. So you all know the deal. You wait for the highball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch you all next time. Be safe. God bless. We'll see ya.